Appreciate everybody joining us today. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Want to give a few people an opportunity to come on and catch this from the beginning. You'll hear me say this a couple of times during this live, that if you miss the beginning, it's always important to go back and review from the start of the broadcast. If you ever tune into a live of mine and you don't catch the beginning, always go back and catch the beginning, because I'm a systematic teacher. And what I do is I build a foundation before I jump into the meat of what I'm saying. And the foundation is extremely important to what I'm teaching and what I'm sharing today. I'm super excited about this moment in time that we are spending together. And as always, I ask those of you that are joining us even now to go ahead and start sharing this particular lesson. I know that this is a lesson, and I guess I feel this way about every lesson that I teach or share. But I know for sure that this is one that needs to be shared and heard all over the world. Today we're going to be talking to men. Today we're going to be encouraging men, but we're also going to be instructing men in a way that I know for sure is so desperately needed. As I look at the state of men in our country, as I look at the state of men all around the world, I find myself asking a question to myself. And it is the same question that I keep asking myself over and over again. And the question is, what has happened to our men? What is happening to our men? I grew up in a age and an era where manhood was something desired by men. And when I say manhood, I mean everything that manhood encompasses, which is responsibility, trustworthiness, leadership, someone who makes a positive difference and an undeniable impact in the world. Someone whose birth actually made a difference for every other individual who was living during their life, and even those who will be alive and be living after they're gone, long gone, on to be with God. So it's important to me that this gets shared because I know that our men are in a state of need. We're in a state of need, but we're also in a state of denial. And one of the things I want to stress today for all my brothers, that need and denial do not go together. Do not go together well. If somebody can give me a thumbs up on the audio just to let me know that my audio is on point, to let me know that you guys can hear me loud and clear. I've got a different microphone set up today, and I need your verification that you can hear what I'm saying before I go forward, because I would hate to go forward and spend this whole time teaching only to find out that my audio was not on point. So if somebody can give me a thumbs up, somebody can send me a message letting me know, hey, we hear you loud and clear, everything is good, and type that in the message for me so I'll know that that's what you're saying. I see we've got a couple of people on, and I'm waiting on the verification from you, from someone on Facebook Live, to let me know that the audio is on point. That's what I'm waiting for, as well as asking you to go ahead and start sharing this particular live right now with your connections and your friends. Thank you, Levon Bailey. Levon Bailey has let me know it is loud and clear. Thank you very much. I did not want to proceed without having that verification. Again, asking everybody to go ahead and share. Somebody's going to be glad you did. Somebody's going to be blessed. South Carolina's in the house. Hey, Levon, thank you for joining us from South Carolina. That's awesome. I hope you're sharing us, Levon, in South Carolina, so we can be a blessing to the men there as well. Thank you, Pete Thomas, for joining us. We'll look on here for a few minutes and see who's with us. Thank you, Pete Thomas. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope that you will share with us. Thank you, Pastor Tish, for joining in and being a part of this live, dedicated to men, asking everybody. Miss Marks is on board. Miss Marks, thank you for joining us. I hope that you will share. Before we get started, I'm just trying to give a few more minutes to get this thing spread out, because this is going to be a life-changing teaching. I promise you. You won't be disappointed in this. I never disappoint. That's my goal in life, to always be on point. So I want you to share. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us. And listen, I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to make a small adjustment, just to adjust the height of my camera here. Trying to get this thing wonderful and perfect to the best of our ability. Kevin, I'm asking everybody to share, if you will, share. Today we are talking to men, exclusively talking to men. I have a heart for men. I have a passion for men, but my approach for men is probably very different than most men are used to. I believe in teaching men. I believe in encouraging men. The one thing I do not believe in is I do not believe in coddling men. I do not believe in babysitting men. I've learned a long time ago that when you babysit men, you do not create a stronger man, you create a weaker man. So what I do is I'm very strong in my teachings. I'm very strong in my approach. I'm very strong in what I say, and I'm very strong in what I do. Thank you, Tyrone, for joining us. Do me a favor and share. I understand you have some problems with Facebook on your end. If you get it straightened out, please share, Tyrone. Thank you for joining us down in Dooley County. I certainly appreciate that. Love everybody down in Dooley County. Asking everybody to share, because this is a message that is going to help the men who are serious about being helped. As I was saying, my approach for helping men is very different. I don't babysit. I don't coddle. I teach. I'm very direct. I'm very focused, and I don't play games, and I don't go back and forth. When you are sick and tired of being less than you are capable of being, then you assume the proper posture to become the man that you desire to be, but also the man that you know you can be. One of the things I've learned about life is that we have a certain way that we learn. If you ask the question, how do we learn? I want to teach you really quickly that we learn one of three ways. Every single one of us, we learn one of three ways. Number one, we either learn from our mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. Number two, we learn from the mistakes of others. But number three is probably the best way to learn. It's definitely the safest way to learn. And honestly, it's really the wisest and smartest way to learn. Number three is we learn from mastering the art of listening. Now, most of us learn from our mistakes because we don't listen. And oftentimes we learn from the mistakes of others because they didn't listen. But if you can master the art of listening, you will be amazed and surprised how much more you can learn. And then here's the beautiful part about learning it. When you learn something, you're able to leverage it. Why? Because you know it. You know it. You know it to such a degree that you know what to do with it. You know it to such a degree that you know how to parlay it into some type of tangible strategy that benefits you. Because listening for the sake of listening is really just a waste of time. Listening to say, hey, man, that was a good message. Hey, bro, I appreciate what you said. Hey, what you said really was on point. That's cool. I mean, I really appreciate that. But at the end of the day, if that's all we're going to get out of us listening, then we're really wasting precious time, because you never know if you're going to have another opportunity to be in a situation where you can listen and glean and gather life-changing information. Here's the sad part about this mastering the art of listening. Oftentimes, the people who need to learn life's lessons the most are very often the people who listen the least but talk the most. Now, I'm going to let that marinate for a few minutes, and then I'm going to repeat it again, because it needs to be repeated. Oftentimes, the people who need to learn life lessons the most are very often the same people who listen the least but talk the most. So I want to encourage you, if you're watching this as a man, to open up your ears and don't even allow your mind to try to combat what I'm going to say. Don't even allow your mind to try to submit some type of resistance to what I'm going to say. You can do that after I'm done. Be wise enough to listen to what I'm going to say today so that you can at least hear it in its totality and you can absorb everything that's in it that can benefit your life. That's the only thing I'm asking you to do today. Everybody talks about being motivated. And I know a lot of guys, their whole focus is motivating men. Want to motivate the men. How do we motivate the men? Let's motivate the men. And let me tell you something. Here's what I've learned about motivation, man. Being motivated is useless if you don't know what to do to turn your motivation into elevation. Woo! Say that again. Okay. Being motivated is useless. And yes, I believe in motivation, but motivation is not the end to all. Motivation is a small fraction of what's necessary to be successful in life. So this is why I say being motivated is absolutely useless if you don't know what to do to turn your motivation into elevation, or you know what to do, but you won't do it. Then motivation is useless. So I like to move to the next level that is beyond motivation. It's called transformation. I believe that transformation is way more powerful than motivation. Why? Because transformation means that there is an evolution and there is a metamorphosis into a better state, a greater state, a better place. So that's my whole thing. My whole life is about transformation. I live it, I breathe it, I eat it. But listen, let me tell you something. I'm also a product of transformation. I'm a product of transformation. I'm actually the proof of concept, one of many for transformation, because I know where I came from. I know how I used to be. I know what I used to do. I know what I used to not have. I know what I used to not be able to do. I know how I used to think. And then I fast forward to where I am today, and the difference really is night and day. How do we get there? By embracing transformation, by mastering the art of listening, but don't miss this, by being duly devoted to the art of application. See, information is nothing if there is no application. So today, I'm calling all my brothers to the table. I'm asking every person watching this live to please share. My hands are together because I'm pleading with you to share even now, because men are in desperate need of what I'm about to share. Men are in desperate need because men are in a state of affairs that I have not quite seen men in, I don't think ever. And what seems to really be the sad part about it is that this particular state of affairs is growing from one generation to the next generation to the next generation. So today we're talking to men. Let's get started. The topic is tool collectors. Tool collectors. TOOL collectors. Our target today are men. And I'm going to give you two takeaways from this lesson. Two takeaways for every man. Number one, there are two types of men. And I'll talk about what those two types of men are and hopefully inspire you to become the kind of man, the type of man that's really going to maximize your life. And then the second takeaway today is going to be this premise that growth is your responsibility. Growth is your responsibility. I want to focus on one scripture today just as a foundation for what I'm going to be teaching and sharing, and it is 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. 1 Corinthians 13 and 11, for those of you that have a Bible or you've got an iPad or your iPhone, you got a Bible app on there, separate from you watching this live, go ahead and go to 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. Also, I encourage you to take notes. I encourage you to grab a pencil and a piece of paper, ink pen or something, and I literally encourage you to take notes, because I'm going to say some things that you're going to want to write down. You're going to want to post them in your bathroom. You're going to want to post them in your car. You're going to want to keep this wisdom before your eyes so that it becomes concretized and it really becomes a part of your thinking. 1 Corinthians 13 and 11 says this: when I was a child, I spake as a child. When I was a child, I understood as a child. When I was a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, transformation, I put away childish things. Now, First Corinthians talks about the parallel between a child and a man. It talks about the dynamic difference between the way a child speaks, the way a child understands, and the way a child thinks. And then it juxtaposes that against the way that a man will speak and a man will think and the way that the man will understand. And the two are drastically different. And I need to stress the two are drastically different. The way that a man thinks and the way that a child thinks are drastically different. What many men will have to make peace with today and just agree with today is that you may be in a man's body, but sometimes you have a child's mentality. Got to say that again. You may be in a man's body, but sometimes you may have a child's mentality. You may be in a man's body, but sometimes you may understand like a child. You may be in a man's body, but there may be times that you even speak like a child. I like 1 Corinthians 13 and 11 because it tells us that we need not look for some hero to come help us do what is necessary to be transformed from the state of a child to the status of a man. No, 1 Corinthians 13 and 11 says you can stop looking for somebody else to do this for you. You can stop looking for somebody else to enable you. No, 1 Corinthians 13 and 11 says, I put away childish things. When did you do it? When I became a man. Peep that. I put away childish things. When did you do it? When I became a man. See, one of the proofs of your manhood, it's not the size of your shoes, not the baritone in your voice, no, not how many babies can you procreate, not how big your muscles are or how strong you are in the gym. No, one of the proofs that you are a man is the fact that you have put away childish things. Now that'll teach and preach at the same time. It's proof. 1 Corinthians 13 and 7 says, no, when I became a man, I put them away. Who put them away? The man that became. So the man who does not put away childish things cannot fully claim man status, because one of the proofs that a man is a man is that he himself puts away childish things. What childish things? Well, it's the aforementioned things in 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. The way that a child speaks, the way that a child understands, and the way that a child thinks. Here's the challenge I have for all men. Grow up and be a man. I find far too many men claiming man status, yet blaming everyone else or blaming other people for their condition and their position. Woo, that's good teaching. Anytime you find yourself claiming to be a man, but also blaming anyone for your condition and your position, it is evidence that you are not all the man that you can be. I'm not going to say that you're not a man, because we can be men in certain areas and be childlike or childish or have a child's mentality in other areas. And many of us have this dichotomy going on within our being, that we're good in this area over here, but there are other areas over here that are lacking. And one of the tragedies that I see in far too many men is that we will focus on the one or two areas that we are really holding it down on. We will focus on the one or two areas where we have put away our childish speaking, we put away our childish thinking, we put away our childish behavior in this one or two areas, and we will totally ignore two or three other areas that are begging us for the same discipline, that are begging us for the same due diligence, that is begging us for the same dedication. Brothers, listen to me and listen to me carefully. Here's the good news. If you can man up in one area And if you can man up in one arena of your life, here's the good news, brothers. That manhood, that decision, that discipline is transferable to every other area in your life. I promise you. That's the beauty of success. Success is transferable, but it won't happen automatically. And let me just be honest with you. It won't happen just because you prayed for it to happen. Here's the problem I have with church and spirituality. Sometimes we make everything sound like all you got to do is pray. And listen, don't get me wrong. I'm a pastor. Of course, I believe in prayer. But if prayer is all you're going to do, you are not going to get there. Woo! Good God Almighty. Y'all have to excuse me, man. I just enjoy my own teaching sometimes. Let me say that again, because I want to be real. I want to be straight with you. I want to kick it with you 100. If praying is all you're going to do, trust me, brothers, you are not going to get there. If you're going to get in somebody's prayer line and they're going to lay hands on you and that's all you're going to do, gentlemen, you are not going to get there. How do you know, Pastor? Because I've been prayed for more than you can imagine. I've been in more prayer lines than you can imagine. Hands up, fully surrendered, felt the Holy Spirit, tears running down my eyes. In that moment and in that presence, I met God at the altar. But before I became a man, before I understood 1 Corinthians 13 and 11, that I had to put away childish things, that God was not going to put them away. And listen, I know somebody ain't going to like this, but I'm going to keep it real with y'all. You can stop asking God to take stuff away from you. Pastor Troy, you didn't just say that, bro. You didn't just say that. There are entire religious institutions built on the ideology and the theology that all you got to do is ask God to take it away from you. See, I keep it real with you. God is not going to take nothing away from you that he didn't give you. Ooh. Oh, my God. I told y'all I don't play with it now. And listen, if you're looking for a soft approach, if you're looking for somebody to throw you a softball, then listen, I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy. I'm straight up with you. What do you mean, Pastor? God ain't going to take nothing from me he didn't give to me. Why? Because the responsibility is yours as a man. Hear me, brothers. We've been coddled too long. We've been coddled so long that we walk around in these masculine bodies. We walk around in these masculine figures. But our decisions look like child's decisions. Our talk sounds like a child's talk. Our thought processes look like a child's thought processes. And we're asking God to take it away. And God's like, listen, I didn't give it to you. I'm not going to take it away. I gave you the authority to take it away. Go back again for those of you that struggle with what I'm saying and go back and read 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. Don't argue with me and listen, don't play with me, play with your kids. 1 Corinthians 13 and 11 says, when I became a man, I put them away. It doesn't say when I became a man, God took them away. See, truth will set you free. Lies will keep you bound. And it's your responsibility, my brothers, to put away all of the childish impediments that are holding you back. What's a childish impediment, Pastor? Your excuses. How long are you going to blame your daddy for not being the kind of daddy that you needed him to be? Let's just keep it 100. How long are you going to blame your father for the mistakes he made? How long are you going to blame your father for not being in your life? How long are you going to blame your father for not teaching you about credit, not teaching you about finances, not teaching you how to be the head of your house, not teaching you how to be a husband, not teaching you how to be a man? How long are you going to blame your father? I'll wait. Here's the truth of the matter. You can blame your father as long as you want to blame your father. Here's the question I love to ask. How's that working for you? In my best Dr. Phil impersonation. How's that working for you? It's not working for you. That's why you're aggravated and frustrated. That's why you take your anger out on your girlfriend or your wife or your children. That's why you have to drink and get high, come on, to anesthetize your inner pain. Why? Because what you are doing isn't working for you. Listen, have enough sense to know that if what you're doing isn't working, then you need to stop doing that and do something that will work. Why? Because your life is hanging in the balance and you deserve better, my brother. But if you wait on Superman to fly in and hand you better, you are living in an era of self-deception. The Superman that you're waiting on to fly in and make your life better is you, my brother. That's good teaching. I think about a baby, and listen, I'm the father of 3 adult children now. But as I think back over my life as a father, my wife and I have been together 35 years, married 33 years this year, have 3 beautiful, amazing, talented, gifted adult children now. But I can remember when they were babies. One of the things I remember about my children being babies is that, a baby does 3 things that you can count on. A baby eats, a baby pees, and a baby poops. Do I have anybody can say amen? Do I have any daddies out there? Do I have any daddies out there that changed diapers? Do I have any daddies out there that had to rinse and hose down their baby because the baby had boo-boo so much that the boo had came up out the pamper and got all up on the chest of the child and got all in the clothes of the child? Do I have anybody know what I'm talking about? See, I was there as a father, so I know what I'm talking about. Babies, they eat and they pee and they poop. Here's the crazy part about it, though. They eat and then they pee and they poop on themselves. Woo, good God Almighty. I'm about to say something, and I hope you brothers can catch it with 2 hands. You feel me? I hope you land in the end zone with this one. Here's the crazy part on top of the crazy part. After they eat, pee, and poop, and then they pee and poop on themselves, they have to wait for somebody else to clean them up every time they pee and every time they poop, catch this, on themselves. A child will sit in his own pee. I'm talking about a baby. A baby will sit in his own pee. A baby will sit and lay in his own poop, waiting on somebody else, this will preach right here, to clean him up. Uh-oh. Here's the good news for the baby. Not so good news for the brother, but here's good news for the baby. As the baby eats and poops and pees, here's the good news. He grows, he matures, and he learns. Preach, Pastor Troy. Yeah. Here's the trade-off. Here's the trade-off on the eating, the peeping, the peeing, and the pooing. Here's the trade-off. At least you know the baby's going to grow. At least you know he's going to mature. And at least you know eventually he's going to learn. What is he learning, Pastor? What does he learn eventually? You're going to like this. Here's what he learns. Number 1, he learns how not to pee and how not to poop on himself. Woo! Good God Almighty. I'm trying my best to stay seated, man, because I just want to get up and just stand up really quick, man. Are you catching this? Here's the trade-off. Here's what you can look forward to when you have a baby. You can look forward to the day that the baby learns not to pee and not to poop on himself. Here's the other thing you can look forward to when you're dealing with a baby, that he's going to learn, catch this, where to pee, good God Almighty, and where to poop. He's going to learn where the pee and the poop goes. He's going to learn that you don't pee on yourself. Good God Almighty. He's going to learn that you don't want to poop on yourself. That's the trade-off. That's the good news, because you know that the baby's going to learn. Here's the problem that we're having in the world. I started to say America, but brothers and sisters, this is a worldwide global issue. Here's the problem we're having in the world. Men are not growing and learning where to poop and where to pee. Good God Almighty. They're not learning where to poop and pee. How you know that? Because we have far too many men who are still peeing on themselves and still pooping on themselves and still waiting on somebody else to come and clean them up. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. Listen, I'm trying to help a brother for a real quick second, but I can't help you if I don't keep it 100 with you. 1 Corinthians says, when I became a man, I put away childish things. Yeah, peeing on yourself and pooping on yourself is a childish thing. Now, some of y'all are probably trying to figure out the metaphorical connection between peep and poop. And if you think I'm talking about being a grown man that's physically, literally peeing and pooping on himself, you're missing it. But I'll break it down for you, because that's what a pastor's supposed to do. Here's what peeing on yourself looks like. Here's what pooping on yourself looks like. You not taking care of your seed. You not taking care of your children. You not training up a child in the way that they should go, so that when they get old, they will not depart from the truth. You not being the most amazing father that your child could have ever prayed for. You not being the most amazing father that your son could have ever asked for. You not being the most amazing father that your daughters could have asked for. That's peeing and pooping on yourself, my brother. How so, Pastor? Are you kidding me? Your children are your sequel. Preach up in here, Pastor Troy. I got to stay calm, man. I'm trying to teach today, trying to be low key, trying to keep it cool. But listen, I get excited about real teaching. Your children, your sons and your daughters, they are your sequels. And it doesn't matter whether or not you're in the relationship with the mother who gave birth to those seeds and those sequels, or you're not in the relationship with the woman that gave birth to your seed and your sequel. At the end of the day, they are your sequels. And at the end of the day, they are a reflection of you and your legacy. Good God Almighty. So most importantly, to a man who wants to become a man, is he puts away the childish mentality that says that's her problem. That's childish. He puts away the childish mentality that says the government's got to find me and make me take care of my children, because if the government don't make me take care of my kids, I'm not going to give them a dime. That is childish thinking. And you need to become a man and put away those childish thoughts. See, you're peeing and pooping on yourself when you do not make sure that your children have a better life than you had. You're peeing and pooping all over yourself. Calling it peeping, that's peeing and pooping at the same time. See, if someone doesn't teach you this, you'll be walking around thinking, yeah, I'm the man. Oh, I'm the man because I got 30-inch rims on my ride. Dog, I'm the man because I can drink a 6-pack of beer in 10 minutes. Man, I'm the man because I can drink a whole bottle of Hennessy by myself, straight to the head. Man, I'm a man because I be chopping these women down. I'm the man. No, sir. No, sir. Sorry. You're not a man. I'm sorry. I know you have male genitalia. I know you have masculine features. Yeah. But take it from a man who is a man. My brother, that's not what men do. What men do is men take care of their seed. Men take care of their sequel. Why? Because a real man understands that he must grow so that everything connected to him grows. A man understands that he is the tree and his children are the fruit that dangle from his branches. Good God Almighty. What good is it for the tree to look good and the fruit are raggedy? The fruit are falling apart. The fruit are suffering. No. When the tree grows, this is truth right here. When the tree grows, everything attached to the tree is supposed to grow. If the tree is healthy, this is good teaching. Everything attached to the tree is healthier. When the tree is right, the fruit is right. So the next time you get an opportunity to spend some time with your children on your weekend, number one, keep your word. If you say you're going to pick them up, pick them up. And don't just pick them up and stick them in front of some television so they can play video games. No, pick them up and stick them in front of your face so that they can see that you are becoming a man. Pick them up and talk to them about things that a father needs to talk to his sequel about so that they could possibly avoid the same pit holes that you fell in. Give them the fatherhood that perhaps you did not have. Give them the tools perhaps that you were not given. That's what it means to become a man. That's what it means to grow. And here's what I need you to hear me say today, brothers, to every man that's a man of wisdom. Growth is your responsibility. Growth is your responsibility. I know you think that you got all kind of assignments and you got all kind of jobs in this world, but let me keep it 100 with you plus 100 more. Your job, your assignment is for you to grow as a man. That's your responsibility. Well, how do I know I'm growing as a man? You're putting away childish thinking. You're putting away childish talking. You're putting away childish behavior. You're putting away the childhood ways, and you're growing up into this man who is a man of impact, a man who makes a difference, a man who takes pride in being a man, and a man who takes pride in growing. Growth is your responsibility. Now, here's what I need to tell you. As a man, when somebody teaches you anything that helps you become a better man, you are grateful. A child oftentimes is ungrateful. I'm just juxtaposing the difference between when I was a child versus when I became a man. A child is oftentimes very ungrateful. You don't believe it? Look at them doing Christmas. I'll never forget when I was a child, brothers and sisters around Christmas time had made this list. I know I did, a long list of Christmas presents that we wanted to receive. At the time, my parents were doing the best they could. They were both working and things were tight. There were not a lot of money to go around, was not a lot of surplus. But my parents did the best they could to get us what they could. They did the best they could to give us something, to put something under the tree. And here we are on Christmas morning. Our family would always pray before we opened up the gifts. And after we had said the prayer, my mother and father said, "You can go ahead now." And I remember distinctly opening up my gifts one by one by one. And instead of me being excited, instead of me being happy, instead of me being grateful, I remember as a child being very ungrateful. I was very ungrateful because most of the stuff that I had circled in the Toys R Us brochure that came in the newspaper, most of the things I had circled and handed to my parents and said, "This is what I want for Christmas," most of those things were nowhere to be found up under that tree. In that moment, I was ungrateful. Why was I ungrateful? Because I was thinking like a child. See, a child becomes ungrateful, and no matter how much you give an ungrateful child, it's never going to be enough. As a man, you got to make sure that you are not that ungrateful child. So that when somebody teaches you anything that helps you become a better man, you are absolutely ridiculously grateful. You'd be surprised how many bros I deal with who are ungrateful. And the more you give them, the more they want. The more you give them, the more they want. And they don't recognize that they're blessed, number one, to have the relationship. They're blessed to have the connection. They're blessed to have access to a person of wisdom. But because they have the mentality of a child, they are very ungrateful. And here's how you can tell whether or not you're grateful or whether or not you're ungrateful. And this is important for every man to know, because if you can catch this, you can actually check yourself before you wreck yourself. You can actually check yourself before you ruin all of the relationships in your life that could have really made the biggest difference in your life. But because you were ungrateful, those individuals stepped away from you because they recognized that they could not give their pearls to swine. They recognized that some people are unteachable and some people are unreachable by them. Doesn't mean somebody else can't reach you. But men of wisdom recognize when there's a bucket with a hole in it and you keep pouring into the bucket and the bucket never fills, but the bucket always wants more poured into it. See, here's how you can test whether or not you are a man who is grateful or you are a child masquerading as a man who is ungrateful. Here's how you know. Gratitude is proven by growth. Woo, man, somebody's going to thank me for this one. Let me say it again because I need you to catch that. Gratitude is proven by growth. In other words, when somebody gives you the tools, catch this now, and somebody gives you the knowledge of how to use the tools, men, you don't ask for more tools. You go to work. See, a child or a child mentality takes the tools and says, "You know what? I want some more tools." I can't tell you how many men I know, all they do is collect tools. See, a child loves toys. You can never give a child too many toys. You have never heard a child say, "I don't need any more toys." I've had 3 children, and I've never heard one of my children say, "Daddy, I got too many toys. No, they can have 100 toys. And you go to the grocery store and in the checkout, if there's a toy, they want it. They can have 100 toys. And if you drive by Toys R Us, they want to go in there, Joker. They can have 100 toys. And if you take them to Walmart and they happen to walk past the toy aisle, they're going to want another toy. Why? Because a child, I'm talking about the mentality, my brothers, a child loves toys. A child says, hey, the more, the merrier. Here's the problem, though, with the child's mentality. If you think about a child, the more toys they have, here's what happens. The toys become unused and the toys become ignored. You've had children that have had several toys that they never played with. I've seen children on Christmas play with the box that the toy came in. I'm like, how crazy is that? To play with the box more than they play with the toy. Why? Because in a child's mind, the more the merrier. The tragedy is, though, the more toys they have, those very toys become unused and those very toys become ignored. And peep this, over time, a child becomes a toy collector. Ooh, good God Almighty. A child becomes a toy collector. Why? Because they got all of these toys that they no longer play with. They've got all these toys that they no longer appreciate. They've got all these toys that go unused and ignored. Why? Because the child has become a child collector. Here's what I want to bless you with for every man that's a man of wisdom. A man with the mind of a child becomes a tool collector. Oh, my God. I'm going to pray you guys are catching this. I'm going to pray that I have intelligent brothers watching today and listening today, asking all of my intelligent brothers to share this so that one brother can help another brother and another brother can help another brother. What did you just say, Pastor Troy? A man with the mind of a child becomes a tool collector. Yeah, one woman won't do. You got to have 12. You got to have 12 and you ain't treating none of them right. You got to have 12 and you ain't really loving none of them. You got to have 12 and none of them are really experiencing what it's like to be in a real relationship with a real man. Why? Because a man with the mind of a child becomes a tool collector. Ooh, that's good teaching right there. And no matter how many tools you give him, he always wants more. I'm asking brothers to check themselves today, to check themselves before they wreck themselves. Even though he hasn't made full use of the tools he's already been given, he still wants more. That's the mentality of a child. I repeat, brothers, growth is your responsibility. It's a poor man that'll blame somebody else for his lack of growth. It's a poor man that'll blame somebody else for his lack of joy, his lack of peace, his lack of resources, his lack of opportunities. Yes, I said lack of opportunity. It's a poor man that will blame somebody else. Why? Because growth is your responsibility. And even if nobody will physically sit down and teach you anything, if you can master the art of listening, then you can glean information that can be used to trigger your own transformation. But you can never do that if you're walking around with the mindset of a child, blaming somebody else, blaming the system, blaming the absent father, blaming the mother that didn't do you right, blaming a relationship, blaming how you were born or where you were born or what you were not born with. Men must recognize that growth is your responsibility. And here's what I want to bless you with. Your growth, this is good teaching, guys, is determined by your respond ability. Now listen, that was so smooth that probably most of you missed it. So I want to go back and I want to slow it down. Let me downshift so that everybody can jump on this bus. Growth is your responsibility. Catch this. Your growth is determined by your respond ability. Responsibility is nothing more than your respond ability. Translation, your ability to respond. Woo. God, this is good teaching. Man, oh man, oh man. See, your ability to respond is going to determine your entire life. How do you respond to adverse situations? How do you respond to the challenges that you face as a man? How do you respond to a father that did not equip you for manhood? It's your responsibility to be able to have a healthy ability to respond. What do you mean? You make lemonade out of your lemons. Your responsibility, your ability to respond determines your entire life. And every man I know has got a few lemons. There ain't no man that I don't know that ain't got a bunch of lemons in his life. Come on, man. Everybody I know, come on, got some lemons. We all were not born with a silver spoon. We all were not set up with some bank full of money. We all were not given, the head start in life that we wish we had have had. No, most men I know have some lemons. But if you're a child, you know what you do? You complain about the lemons in your life. You complain about the lemons in your life as if you're the only one that has lemons. That's the part that trips me out. Bros be running around here complaining and whining, want somebody to feel sorry for them because they got lemons. And I be like, dog, you ain't the only one with lemons. Boy, stop. Just because we look like we got it all together, just because we may be doing well today or may be doing better than somebody else, never, ever forget every man's got some lemons. Most of us who are wise, though, have learned how to take those lemons and make lemonade out of it. If you're going to be a progressive man, that's what I want to talk about. If you're going to be a transformational man, then you're going to have to learn how to take your lemons and how to turn those suckers into lemonade. When you do that, then you can truly say, hey, no weapon formed against me can even prosper. You can absolutely say no weapon formed against me can prosper because when life throws me lemonade, ain't no problem. I turn them bad boys. When life throws me lemons, ain't no problem. I turn them bad boys into lemonade. Why? Because I recognize growth is my responsibility. See, your ability to respond to life challenges with the tools you have been given, that's your responsibility. Now, I told you there were going to be two takeaways. One is that growth is your responsibility. Here's the other takeaway as I get ready to close. There are two types of men. Two types of men. Man number one is a fruitful man. This is good teaching. Man number two is a fallen man. Let me say that again. Two types of men. Man number one is a fruitful man. Man number two is a fallen man. Pastor, where you get that from? Oh, I get that from Genesis, Playboy. I get that from Adam. See, Adam was given all the tools he needed to be a fruitful man. And as a fruitful man, Adam was responsible. Don't miss this, brothers. Adam was reliable. And Adam was regarded as a man of authority. Yes, Adam was. What do you mean, Pastor? Well, he's the kind of man that's fruitful and he completes assignments. He follows instructions. He uses his tools and he walks in the image of God. That's what I call a fruitful man. But if you know the story of Adam, Adam goes from being a fruitful man to being a fallen man. And as a fallen man, he is the polar opposite of himself as a fruitful man. As a fallen man, Adam becomes irresponsible. Adam becomes unreliable. As a fallen man, Adam becomes someone who's regarded as a man who hides when he has failed as a man. That is the mentality and the state of a fallen man. See, as a fallen man, Adam was regarded also, the most shamed part of it all, as a man who blamed someone else for his lack of leadership. OMG.com. And today I want to give you two definitions of what leadership means. Leadership number one is the most common definition. To be able to lead. To be able to lead a family. To be able to lead yourself. To be able to lead a company. To be able to lead an organization. To be able to lead others in the right direction. That's the most common definition of leadership. But brothers, there's another definition of leadership that has missed many of us. And it is the ability to be led by God. See, leadership is a two-sided coin. Leadership is not just you being out front. Leadership is not just you being the head of something. Leadership is not just somebody following you, but the other side of leadership is the ability to be led by God. And Adam blamed somebody else for his lack of leadership in both definitions. He failed to lead his family in the right direction. But then he also failed to be led by God. And I know far too many brothers, maybe you're watching today, maybe this is a moment where we can kind of check ourselves and take inventory, and we can say, you know what, Pastor Troy, you're absolutely right, brother. I failed as a leader. I failed as a leader of my home. I failed as a leader of my family. I failed as a leader of my children. But I've also failed in the realm of leadership of being able to be led by the Almighty God. See, I'm going to tell y'all this, and I'm going to get ready to shut this down. I'm asking everybody to share this Facebook Live when it's over, because there are a million men that need to hear this today. You can always tell, my brothers, that the problem is you when you attempt to blame someone else for your lack of leadership. Good God Almighty. You can always tell, my brothers, when the problem is actually you. How can I tell? Well, you attempt to blame someone else for your lack of leadership. See, growth is your responsibility, men. And I'll leave you with this. Until you grow, you'll always be a tool collector who blames others for your lack of success in life. You'll always be a tool collector. What's a tool collector? You collect knowledge, you collect wisdom, you read, you listen to others, you learn, you listen to good teaching. Your head is so full of so much knowledge, and your head is so full of so much instructions. The sad part is that you won't use what you have. You won't put in position all of the tools that you have power of and the power of eternity of in your life. It's not that we don't know what to do. It's that we lack the discipline to do what we know we are supposed to do. I want to encourage every man today to go back and read 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, in your own leisure. Read verse 11 as I close, and remind yourself that when I was a child, I spake as a child. When I was a child, I understood as a child. When I was a child, I thought like a child. But here's the transformation. When I became a man, I put away childish things. I didn't blame anybody. I didn't make excuses. I wasn't waiting on nobody to come save me. No, I recognized that if I'm ever going to become a man, I've got to put away the childish ways, because the childish ways get in the way of me becoming a man. Brothers, I love you. You're in my prayers. You're in my heart. I pray that this teaching and this time that we've shared with you today will be both a benefit and a blessing, not just today, but for the rest of your lives. Share this with a brother, an older brother and a younger brother, and every brother that you know to be a brother of substance and a brother of wisdom. Share it with them so that this can be just another tool in their tool shed that can help them become the man that God created them to be. God bless you guys. Have a great day.